welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and it's the end of August, so today we're doing books with a fall vibe. They're not all pumpkin spice, but a few of them are. So Jill, what's your first pick?
Not pumpkin spice. I have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I think there's a lot of books, really fun books about witches that are very lighthearted, and this is one of them. A warm, uplifting novel about an isolated witch whose opportunity to embrace a quirky new family and a new love changes the course of her life. As one of the few witches in Britain, Micah Moon knows she has to hide her magic, keep her head down, and stay away from the other witches so their powers don't mingle and draw attention. And as an orphan who lost her parents at a young age and was raised by strangers, she's used to being alone, and she follows the rules, with one exception, an online account where she posts videos pretending to be a witch. She thinks no one will take it seriously, but someone does. An unexpected message arrived begging her to travel to the remote and mysterious Nowhere House to teach 3 young witches how to control their magic. It breaks all the rules, but Micah goes anyways and is immediately tangled up in the lives and secrets of not only her 3 charges, but also an absent archaeologist, a retired actor, 2 long-suffering caretakers, and Jamie, a handsome and prickly librarian of Nowhere House who would do anything to protect the children. And as far as he's concerned, a stranger like Micah is a threat, an irritatingly appealing threat. As Micah begins to find her place in Nowhere House, the thought of belonging somewhere begins to feel like a real possibility. But magic isn't the only danger in the world, and when a threat comes knocking at their door, Micah will decide whether to risk everything to protect a found family she didn't know she was looking for. This was published in 2022.
Irregular Witches. My first picked by the cover with this fall scene. This is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This was published last year. This is kind of in the vibe of the movie When Harry Met Sally. So, can they stop hating each other long enough to fall in love? A commitment phobe and a hopeless romantic clash over and over again until heartbreak and unexpected chemistry bring them together in this clever enemies to friends to lovers debut romance. When Ari and Josh first meet, the wrong kind of sparks fly. They hate each other instantly. A free-spirited, struggling comedian who likes to keep things casual, Ari sublets, takes gigs, and she never sleeps over after hooking up. Born and bred Manhattanite, Josh has ambitious plans. Take the culinary world by storm, find the one, and make her breakfast in his spotless kitchen. They obviously have nothing in common, and they never expect their paths to cross. Years later, as they're both reeling from ego-bruising breakups, a chance encounter leads to a surprising connection. Friendship. Turns out spending time with your former nemesis is fun when you're too sad to hate each other and too sad for hate sex. As friends without benefits, they find comfort in late-night Netflix binges, swiping through each other's online dating profiles, and bickering across boroughs. It's better than romance until one night the unspoken boundaries of their platonic relationship begin to blur. So, very much like When Harry Met Sally, where they don't like each other and end up as lovers.
And lots of fall leaves involved.
Yeah, so check out You Again, a debut romance.
Cool. My next one is, I guess this is the new genre that we talked about last week, the fantasy romance. Legend and Lattes. This is the first in a series by Travis Baldree. This was published in 2022. After a lifetime of bounties and bloodshed, Viv is hanging up her sword for the last time. The battle-weary orc aims to start fresh, opening the first ever coffee shop in the city of Thune. But old and new rivals stand in the way of success, not to mention the fact that no one has the faintest idea what coffee actually is. If Viv wants to put the blade behind her and make her plans a reality, she won't be able to go it alone. But the true rewards of the uncharted path are the travelers you meet along the way, and whether you are drawn together by ancient magic, flaky pastry, or a freshly brewed cup, they may become partners, family, or something deeper than she ever could have dreamed. Legends and Lattes.
It's been popular. That's a first in a series, right?
Yeah, that's number 1.
Okay. I had to throw a pumpkin one in. So, my second pick is Pumpkin Spice Peril by Jen McKinley. This was published in 2020, and it's the 12th cupcake bakery mystery from this author. Life is all sugar and spice for the fairy tale cupcake bakers. Melanie Cooper is engaged to the delectable Joe DeLora. Angie Harper and her husband Tate are savoring married life, and the bakery is bustling with happy customers until one of their most valued cupcake connoisseurs ends up dead. Local glass artist and cupcake lover Renee Fisher-Klein has always suffered from a wide variety of health issues. In an effort to cheer her up, her doting husband Peter brings her a 4-pack of her favorite cupcakes every week. But when the police discover that Renee has been poisoned, there's no sugarcoating the fact that the last thing she ate were the bakery's signature pumpkin spice cupcakes. With their lives in bakery at stake, it's up to Mel and Angie to find out who poisoned their artist friend and why before their future is frosted for good.
Oh, no.
You gotta love the cozy
No
write-ups.
kidding.
Pumpkin Spice Barrel by Jen McKinley from 2020.
Oh, it wouldn't be a fall pick if we didn't have pumpkin spice involved. It wouldn't. So my next one is Wayward. These are witches again, but different kind of witches, I think. By Amelia Hart. I am wayward and wild inside. 2019. Under the cover of darkness, Kate flees London for a ramshackle wayward cottage, inherited from great aunt she barely remembers. With its tumbling ivy and overgrown garden, the cottage is worlds away from the abusive partner who tormented Kate. But she begins to suspect that her great aunt had a secret, one that lurks in the bones of the cottage, hidden ever since the witch hunts of the 17th century. 1619. Altha is awaiting trial for the murder of a local farmer who was stampeded to death by his herd. As a girl, Altha's mother taught her their magic, a kind not rooted in spellcasting but in deep knowledge of the natural world. But unusual women have always been deemed dangerous, and as evidence for witchcraft is set against Altha, she knows it will take all her powers to maintain her freedom. 1942. As World War II rages, Violet is trapped in her family's grand, crumbling estate. Straitjacketed by societal convention, she longs for the robust education her brother receives, and for her mother, long deceased, who is rumored to have gone mad before her death. The only traces Violet has of her are a locket bearing the initial W and the word wayward scratched into the baseboard of her bedroom. Weaving together the stories of 3 extraordinary women across 5 centuries, Amelia Hart's Wayward is an enthralling novel of female resilience and transformative power of the natural world. So this was published in 2023, and I read it, it was very good. I enjoyed it a lot, and it did give you a very fall feel. I read it in summer, unfortunately.
My third pick is All That Is Hidden by Reese Bowen and Claire Broyles. It's New York, autumn, 1907. Former private detective Molly Murphy Sullivan is happy with her place in the world. She and her policeman husband Daniel have built quite a life for themselves in Greenwich Village, in their modest yet beautiful home in Patchen Place. It's filled with family, friends, and laughter. Molly and Daniel have a good marriage, a true partnership where they value each other's opinions in all things. So when he tells her they're moving to a fancy home on Fifth Avenue and that he's running for the sheriff of New York, Molly's left reeling. Daniel begs Molly to trust him, but why would he run for sheriff on the Tammany ticket, a party known more for kickbacks and quid pro quo than anything else? It used to be everything that Daniel despised. So what's changed? And why didn't he discuss it with her beforehand? Molly can't help but wonder what Daniel's got himself tangled up in and whether he needs her help to get out. This is part of a series, and in this one, the incomparable Molly is drawn into the dangerous world of politics, forced to navigate through a web of lies and deceit, which are hidden behind a veil of vast wealth and grandeur. So back in 1907.
Nice. I'm not sure why I picked this one, but I think it definitely gives a fall feel to the cover. And I think it involves a library.
Oh!
The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. She also wrote The Night Circus, if you read and enjoyed it, and I hear this one is even better.
Oh!
Zachary Ezra Rollins is a graduate student in Vermont when he discovers a mysterious book hidden in the stacks. As he turns the pages, entranced by tales of lovelorn prisoners, key-located collectors, and nameless acolytes, he reads something strange, a story from his own childhood. Bewildered by this inexplicable book and desperate to make sense of how his own life came to be recorded, Zachary uncovers a series of clues, a bee, a key, and a sword that lead him to a masquerade party in New York, a secret club, and through a doorway into an ancient library hidden far below the surface of the earth. What Zachary finds in this curious place is more than just buried home for books and their guardians. It is a place for lost cities and seas, lovers who pass, notes under doors and across time, and of stories whispered by the dead. Zachary learns of those who have sacrificed much to protect this realm, relinquishing their sight and their tongues to preserve this archive, and also of those who are intent on its destruction. Together with Mirabel, a fierce pink-haired protector of the place, and Dorian, a handsome barefoot man with shifting alliances, Zachary travels the twisting tunnels, darkened stairwells, and crowded ballrooms and sweetly soaked shores of this magical world, discovering his purpose in both mysterious book and his own life. This was published in 2019.
Interesting pick. My fourth pick comes from our YA collection, and this is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, published back in 2018. This is kind of a back-to-school pick for this time of year. Ellingham Academy is a famous private school in Vermont for the brightest thinkers, inventors, and artists. It was founded by Albert Ellingham, an early 20th century tycoon who wanted to make a wonderful place full of riddles, twisting pathways, and gardens. A place, he said, where learning is a game. Shortly after the school opened, his wife and daughter were kidnapped. The only real clue was a mocking riddle listing methods of murder, signed with the frightening pseudonym Truly Devious. It became one of the great unsolved crimes of American history. True crime aficionado Stevie Bell is set to begin her first year at Ellingham Academy, and she has an ambitious plan. She's going to solve this cold case. That is, she will solve the case when she gets a grip on her demanding new school life and her housemates, the inventor, the novelist, the actor, the artist, and the jokester. But something strange is happening. Truly Devious makes a surprise return, and death revisits Ellingham Academy. The past has crawled out of its grave. Someone has gotten away with murder. The two interwoven mysteries of this first book in the Truly Devious series dovetail brilliantly, and Stevie Bell continues her relentless quest for the murderers in books 2 and 3. It's perfect for fans of Agatha Christie or E. Lockhart, so Truly Devious. A back-to-school murder.
Back to school! That's how kids probably feel about going back to school. So, I don't know. I think of fall, I think of pie. So that's why this one's coming up. The City Baker's Guide to Country Living by Louise Miller. This was published in 2016. When Olivia Rawlings, a pastry chef extraordinaire for exclusive Boston Dinner Club, sets not just her flambé dessert, but the entire building alight, she escapes to the most comforting place she can think of, the idyllic town of Guthrie, Vermont, home of Bag Bomb, the country's longest-running contra dance, and her best friend, Hannah. But the getaway turns into something more lasting when Margaret Hurley, the cantankerous sweater-set-wearing owner of Sugar Maple Inn, offers Livy a job. Broke and knowing that her days at the club are numbered, Livy accepts. Livy moves with her larger-than-life, uber-enthusiastic dog, Salty, extra, the book humans a dog, into a sugar house in the inn's property and begins creating her mouth-watering desserts for the residents of Guthrie. She soon uncovers the real reason she has been hired, to help Margaret reclaim the inn's blue ribbon status at the annual county fair apple pie contest. With joys of the fragrant kitchen, the sounds of banjos and fiddles being tuned in the barn, and a crisp scent of the orchard just outside the front door, Livy soon finds herself immersed in small-town life. And when she meets Martin McCracken, the Guthrie native who has returned from Seattle to tend his ailing father, Livy comes to understand that she might not be alone in this world as she once thought. But then another new arrival takes the community by surprise, and Livy must decide whether to do what she does best and flee, or stay and finally discover what it means to belong. Olivia Rawlings may finally find out that life you want may not be the one you expected. It could be even better. The City Baker's Guide to Country Living.
My last pick also involves murder. And an autumnal ball. So, A Most Agreeable Murder by Julia Seals, published in 2023. Feisty, passionate Beatrice Steele has never fit the definition of a true lady, according to the strict code of conduct that reigns in her small English township. She's terrible at needlework, she has absolutely no musical ability, and her artwork is so bad it actually frightens people. Nevertheless, she lives a perfectly agreeable life with her marriage-scheming mother, prankster father, and her two younger sisters, beautiful Louisa and forgettable Mary. But she harbors a dark secret. She's obsessed with the true crime cases she reads about in the newspaper. If anyone in her etiquette-obsessed community found out, she'd be deemed a morbid creep and banished from respectable society forever. For her family's sake, she's vowed to put her obsession behind her, because eligible bachelor Edmund Croaksworth is set to attend the approaching autumnal ball, and the Steele family hopes that Louisa will steal his heart. If not, Martin Grubb, their disgusting cousin, will inherit the family's estate and they will be ruined, or even worse, forced to move to France. So Beatrice must be on her best behavior, which is made difficult when a disgraced yet alluring detective inexplicably shows up to the ball. She's just holding things together when Croaksworth drops dead in the middle of a minuet. As a storm rages outside, the evening descends into a frenzy of panic, fear, and betrayal as it becomes clear they are all trapped with a killer. Contending with competitive card games, tricky tonics, and the town's infamous squelch holes, Beatrice must rise above decorum and decency to pursue justice and her own desires before anyone else is murdered at this ball. I thought this sounded like a fun pick. This actually went on to Mine Must Be Red list. So a most agreeable murder from 2023.
How can you pass on an autumnal ball? I mean, come on. Well, I hope if you're sick of summer and ready for fall and want some books that'll get you in the mood, we've given you a good list here.
You can find our videos on our YouTube channel, the Kimberly Public Library website. Jill puts a link there to YouTube and our Facebook page. And until next time, we thank you for watching and happy fall.
Bye.
Bye.